Everybody's genetics may not say you can live to 104, but you want to make the quality of your life equal to the quantity of your life. You like to be there if you want to be a grandparent and be there for the grandkids. Fitness, no matter what, will make a difference in your life.
Some experts chase attention, but the smart ones build authority. You're listening to the Authority on Demand podcast, where credibility becomes your competitive advantage. Every week, we're pulling back the curtain on how founders and leaders turn expertise into inbound demand through books that position, media that converse, and strategies that actually move the needle. I'm Danielle Hutchinson, your host and Chief Creative Officer at Authority on Demand. Now, let's turn your authority into leverage.
Have you ever wondered what the secret to aging gracefully, energetically, and with unshakable health is? Well, in today's episode, we're unlocking that very secret with the help of Dr. Michael Guadagnino, a chiropractor with over 3 decades of experience, a lifelong fitness enthusiast, and author of the wonderful book, Fitness Over 50, 60, 70, and Beyond. This book is all about a mission to empower adults in their golden years to take control of their health like never before. So, we're going to be chatting all about that and, of course, about some writing tips today on the Authors on Mission podcast. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Michael Guadagnino. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you for having me. And it's nice to share with your subscribers.
Hey, real quick before we jump back in, if you're loving what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button and drop us a like. We're bringing you the best authors, the most real conversations, and all the writing wisdom that you didn't know you needed. So stick around because it only gets better from here. All right, now let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, of course. Of course, this is a topic that everybody can relate to. We all, want to learn about what it's like to have a wellness kind of life and ensure that we're staying fit and healthy even in our, older years. And people can, I'm sure that your book relates to everybody, even if you're not quite in the 50s yet. I mean, it's something that we can all kind of be thinking about and preparing for. And, it's something that you've been doing your whole life as well. So it's a lot of important stuff.
No, I definitely agree with that. Thank you.
Yeah, and so just to talk about you a little bit, you are a Gen X health influencer, right? So, what
Mhm.
unique perspectives can you bring to the conversation about aging and wellness?
Well, I've been in practice for 30 years, and one thing I see is that a lot of people want to be healthy. They don't know how to get healthy. They don't know how to become healthy. There's so many different messages being sent through all different medias, social media, television, radio, podcasts. So
Mhm.
I felt the need or the want to put it all down in paper. What I think someone over 50 for Gen Xers and boomers to become healthy, stay healthy, and make a complete difference in their life. You said we're all going to get there sometime. We're all going to get to 50. We hope to get 50, 60, 70 above. And the best way to do that is to live a more healthy life. I mean, we're not talking about my book isn't about people becoming gym rats or becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's just what you can do, what steps you can take today to be better than yesterday, what steps you can take tomorrow to be better than today, and so on. And that's really the thrust of the book.
I like that. It sounds like it's kind of just down to earth, nothing crazy insane that you have to, uproot everything you're doing for, but like smaller steps that, you could just integrate into your everyday life as it is. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. I mean, if somebody wants to go into that deep dive, it's there for them. But it's really and the key in the book too is it's non-judgmental. Now, I
Mhm.
have some people come to my office. They haven't done anything their whole lives, and they've had an epiphany. They want to do something today so they could be better. And it's completely non-judgmental. There's no like some of the influencers you may see with fitness that they get in your face. It's none of that at all. It's a gentle way of explaining this is what you can do about health, about your nutrition, about your fitness, about your positive mental state of mind, and some other ideas and some other facts. And it's supplements. It's a nice and comforting macro look at health and how we can take you from here to there.
Understood. Yeah, no,
Mm.
I really like what you said there. And you're right. Some people might not do any physical activities till it's too late, right? So this is
Mhm.
about kind of like preventing that and getting ready for it. But you mentioned something before. The word I love you said is epiphany. So I think that's really cool. Did you have an epiphany yourself, kind of like when you had that moment to realize, I have to write a book about this?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that. It was during the pandemic. And during
Ugh.
the pandemic, we found that people who had better body weight, were more fit, had so much better results. So from that, I began to look at some of the research, and the research and the data shows that better results for people who may have been exposed to the virus came from those who were in better shape. So that was my epiphany, and I can actually remember the moment it happened. I said, I've got to start putting pen to paper, and you put pen to paper, and pen to paper becomes onto the computer screen, which goes through the whole process of becoming a book. It was a 2 year process. There are over 200 scientific citations, so this isn't just my ideas. This is my ideas with science backing it,
Mhm.
and so that was that was the epiphany. Was the pandemic and to get the ball rolling.
Right. Well, that's interesting though, because the book actually was published earlier this year, so it must have been quite the process to get it out there and exactly how you were imagining it. Because it's actually in March, I believe, which is almost exactly like 5 years after. I guess it would be. No, wait, a couple
Well,
years.
yeah. Well, it's 2020, 21, 22 is when the pandemic was really, and I
Yeah.
guess after 22 is when things began to calm down and you start to see some of the research started coming up about different aspects of what happened during the pandemic. And
Right.
that's where the ideas started to stem from. And anybody who's written a book knows once you write it, it's they're only halfway done. It's all the proofreading,
Mhm.
there's all the editing, it's everything from that point. So it was a process, but it was the epiphany was in the thought process came from out of that pandemic, and it was published, yes, in this past March.
And yeah, understood. And I understand what
Mm,
you mean completely. A lot of authors think that once they're done writing, well, that's it, ready for publication. But yeah, it's a hard
mm,
truth to swallow that there's a little bit more to it after that.
yeah, for sure.
Those different processes. So before we dive into the content of the book itself, I guess I'm just curious to know what is where's a sort of like major overhauls to the editing process, anything that you found as a challenge?
The book was ready to go to print a little bit earlier, and then some new data came out. And being it's a scientific book, I contact my publisher. I said, just hold the press right now. I've got to write another chapter. I have to put some more information in here, and which I did. So what I wrote when I first completed it, and the proofreading process, it's I wouldn't say it's completely different, but it was different. I think it was better. And that's what you want to strive for as an author, is just make it better. And as something else may have come up, and I saw some new data. I had to include that in the book, so it was involving. And eventually, I said, it's got to have a stop point where I have to say, all right, that's enough data for now, and let's get it out there.
Right, exactly. So that's really good that you were able to kind of take a deep breath and say, okay, well, I can't just let it go as is. I have to update it with this new information. It's good that you did that because I think like maybe somebody else would have been like, oh well, let me just get it published. I just want it out there. You took the
Mm.
time to make it exactly what it needs to be. And so to transition into the book itself, I mean, you did send me a copy, and I went through the first couple chapters a bit, and yeah, I mean, it's very true. Every one of his sentences is backed with a citation right there for you so you can verify the facts. It's very credible. Everything's there. But what's really cool is you offer like many different strategies for everything. I mean, you have a chapter on movement, but then different types of movement you could put in there. You have a chapter on health, but different types of like diets. You can go from like alternate day fasting to something else. Like trying to figure. I guess it's your theory seems to be people can pick and choose something that works best for them. Is that kind of a gist of what the main message might be?
Correct. I mean, you might hear some people talk about a vegetarian diet. You have to do that, or you have to do the keto diet. There's no, much as I looked, there was no data at all that said this is the way to eat. Everybody, there's different ways, and there are different healthy ways, and you have to incorporate it into your lifestyle, into that which you would eat.
Mhm.
But one thing I want to get stress, although there are all these citations, and it's backed by scientific research, it's not a biology book. It's a fun book. We talk about different people, some successes, people who went through this. Like I talk about famous people such as Jack LaLanne, and less famous people such as this lady named Joan Campbell, who didn't begin exercise until she was 59 years old. She began swimming at 59, and she became a competitive swimmer. And just recently, at age 93, she swam a 1,500 lap swim meet, I mean, at 93. So it can be done. I tell these stories. I try to share. I try to, a couple of funny anecdotes. And so it's not just scientific data, but it is to help you. It's again a non-judgmental way to explain how to get yourself to be a little more healthy today than you have been.
Understood. I like that. Just a
Mhm.
little bit more, just some small stuff like we said before, right? It's figure out
Mhm.
what's best for you. And I find that, I mean, just from my own experience, if it's not a complete overall, it's like adding one small habit or making like one change, it does wonders, right? And then you're more likely to stick to it. I'm sure you found some
Yes.
research in regards to like consistency too, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you're on a trajectory going one way, you just make that little change today, and in over a week, 2 weeks, a year, 2 years, you're somewhere else. That's yes, that small change makes a big difference in your life.
Understood. So hey, I see in the background there you actually have a copy of the book displayed. I was wondering if you want
Mm.
to show it off to the audience for us.
I forget to get it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, that's awesome. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you grabbing it for us. I always like to give authors a chance to shine a spotlight on the cover or art because that's something that not a lot of people talk about. So, what was the inspiration behind your?
This was quite a bit of inspiration. It's two people, man and woman, looking at the ocean. The ocean to me was just something like the abyss. It's just the unknown. It could be scary. It could be water could be soothing. So just and being from Jersey, and the Jersey Shore is just a big part of my life. I thought this would be a great way to try to express that. Just two people looking over the unknown, and then they're standing here with a couple weights on the beach, and to take that fitness to that unknown, and again make yourself better. And I also like the back of the book too. I had quite a few professionals, uh, someone who owns a gym, other doctors, other fitness people giving endorsements on the back of the book. So that was nice too.
Understood. That's really cool
Mhm.
though. And so, just to clarify, the cover art, did you create that yourself, or did you hired someone to kind of help you?
I hired someone. I
You
told them
did.
what I
Okay.
wanted. Yeah, this is what I was a little emphatic about what I wanted, and they kept sending me things like, "No, that's not it. No, that's not it." And finally, I was like, "Yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted." So it's
Good.
you know
It's
it's
important to
it's
be
it's dark
picky.
now. Yeah, it could be anybody. It's dark and now and just it could be you looking out over that ocean, the unknown.
Right. Yeah, I like that. And then like you also have like a male and a female. It kind of shows like it could be for anybody. Doesn't matter, who you might be, and you keep it general so that everyone can relate to it. That's really important.
Oh, correct. Like I have one chapter on when aging with the drop of testosterone, another one on the dealing with postmenopausal. So it's for both. It's not just for men coming from point of view of a man. It's for both. It's general macro level health.
Exactly. No, that's all, and that's also
Mm.
important. So I guess I'm curious to know, has if someone were to say to you, like, as a, in a practice, like, I don't need to work out, I don't need any of this stuff, I'm fine as I am. Because I mean, I imagine handing this book to like my dad, for example, and he might just be like, let me put it on the shelf and leave it. So,
Mm.
what do you advocate to say, like, why is this so important for us?
Everybody has an aunt that smoked their whole life and drank their whole life and lived to
Mhm.
104, right?
Yeah.
That's the outlier. But the general population, the more you exercise, the more you open your lungs and breathe, the more you eat right, don't have a diet that causes a lot of inflammation. It's going to help you not have to be on medication your whole life. You have those aches and pains, those knee pains, those um, that's a doctor's office after doctor's office, it's a doctor visit. It's
Right.
that's the focus. Everybody's genetics may not say you can live to 104, but you want to make the quality of your life equal to the quantity of your life. You want to have a really nice, good quality. You like to be there if you want to be a grandparent and be there for the grandkids. So yeah, so what I say is fitness, no matter what, will make a difference in your life.
Of course, and I love what you said that you want the quality to be equal to the quantity of life. That's
Mm,
a new one. I like that though. It means so
thank
much.
you.
Like you don't want to
Mm,
just sit there doing nothing your whole life, but you got to enjoy it a little bit. And have that balance. And that seems to be
mm.
another central theme to your book too. That balance aspect.
Oh, completely. And I talk too about you have holidays and parties and I'm not telling you not to have fun, But then after day after 2 days after, things you could do to help cleanse your body and get yourself back on track. It's also in the non-judgmental. What I find too, people they say, well, oh, I went off my diet. That's it. No, it's not. You just pick right up again. There's no. This isn't a race. This isn't here there. It's basically something continuous for your life, and you'll have those ebbs and flows. But just get yourself back on that and stay positive.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I like that. And you gotta be flexible with yourself. You can't punish yourself too much if you fall off track. I've been in that same situation myself. You gotta just go with the flow, right? But do the best you can. So that's what this book's all about. Um, kind of to transition into the writing process a little bit, being that we are an author's podcast. I'm
100%.
curious to know, like, this is a very technical book, but I was reading through it and you do a great job of breaking everything down, making it simple, making it relatable. So did you have a certain process for doing that, making that hard content so accessible for everybody?
I just start off with more or less a whiteboard of the topics I want to talk about, and then I'll just start filling them in. And that was a process for a while too, to just make those topics. That was even part of the 2 year process. That's before the 2 year process. I wrote it and just starts filling as things come to me to start filling. And then you take that topic and you just start writing into paragraphs and then read it over and make it simple, make it sound because being technical within the field is not relatable to someone who's not in the field. And this would be for any type of topic. I could be writing someone could be writing a book on car engines, and I wouldn't understand what they were talking about if they're talking too technical. So you have to break this stuff down to what is relatable, and as you continue to break it down and continue to break it down, uh, next you have a chapter, and then you start with the next chapter, and then what's funny about it is as you're writing one chapter, you're like, oh, I should have included this in that chapter. So you go back and you fill it in. So it becomes a labor of love, and it really becomes a little bit of an obsession. As you're just constantly going back and forth, and things coming to you, what you should add, not add, and as you get to form that chapter after chapter and reading through it and just asking yourself, is this something that a regular person would understand, or is it something that'd be more technical? And you want to just kind of just bring it down to that point where anybody could read it and understand what you're saying.
Understood. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And people struggle with that a lot, especially in like the medical field or any field where there's a lot of jargon going on in the
Mhm.
industry. So, you do a great job of that. It seems like you were mindful from the start that people needed it stated in such a way that they could, understand it rather than having to look everything up. And pretty obvious, but a lot of people don't get that a lot. So it's a good thing.
No, yeah, and that's what kind of goes on in my office too. I mean, someone may bring in an X-ray, an MRI, and it's all technical. And I have to break it down to what it's actually saying. Again, and that happens in any industry. I use the example of the mechanic, but somebody who fixes televisions or computers. You have to kind of explain to your audience what actually is this technical stuff. So it's just basically putting those daily aspects of life into the writing style.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. So how about, challenges? I mean, you mentioned you had some challenges with the revising process, but as you were writing yourself, did you come across any like roadblocks with writing, writer's block, trouble finding a fact, anything like that?
Oh, for sure. It's funny fact is something I know that may have been on the data somewhere, and I have to go searching and searching and searching for it until I finally found it. That's a frustration. But yeah, writer's block does happen. All of a sudden, you just what I don't know what to say, so I just walk away from it. And after a day or two, the stuff starts. It's hard to be creative when you're forcing it. You have to just kind of let it happen. And sometimes it could happen in the shower. It could happen on the treadmill. It could happen just when you're driving, when you're not thinking of it. Like that computer in the back of your head is firing things off, and boom, okay, now it's ready to put to the front of your head. But I found at times you're just sitting there looking at the computer, like, what am I going to say about this? What am I going to say? And you just close the computer, just walk away from it. That's and just let that. And that's why I say it takes a 2 year process. It takes time to write these things because, in my opinion, forcing it is just tough. And I think and I really can't speak for a fiction writer, but for a nonfiction writer, when you're trying to talk about different things, you need to express and explain it in a creative way that's again relatable and it has to be, it got to be truth. It's got to be factual. That if I can't go off on a tangent and something that's just not true. It won't be any data to back it, and it just would be a fraudulent book. So, in my opinion, um, what I did at times when I ran those blocks, just close it down and just walk away and just let it come back to me.
Understood. Yeah, I get that. And you can't force it out. I find that myself sometimes. I'm a ghostwriter and an editor, and I feel, okay, like I need to get this person's project done, but nothing's coming to me. Just even if there's a deadline, even if you're feeling pressured, give yourself a break. I like that. Just come back to it later.
Exactly, exactly.
So, did you learn anything about yourself or philosophy on health during those years of writing that you were working on this?
What I learned is that health is really is a pretty much of a spectrum. Whereas again, you don't have to follow a specific diet to be healthy. You don't have to do a specific exercises. You'll find some influencers will say you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you got. There is no you've got to. It's a spectrum. That's why, and I talk about in the book about again the different diets, the different exercise. I mean, the exercises go from hardcore weightlifting to yoga and chair yoga, and it's just it's this giant spectrum and things you can do. And that's why I learned. I really thought more of you had to do X, Y, and Z, and really there's A, B, C, D. There's just a whole list of things you can do to stay healthy. And yeah, it was pretty nice to find that out.
Understood. Yeah, I think that's
Mm,
really cool, and it's great how you can grow throughout the process of writing a book. You never know what you might find or learn, but at the end, it's some awesome stuff.
mm,
So
nice. Mhm.
yeah, now you have this book out. Do you have any plans for other books? Anything else that we might be excited for in the future?
I actually have the workings for two others.
Oh,
One
two of
is
them.
yeah, yes. One is on. I haven't started writing them yet. One is the second part of this book. Uh, if you want to take it further, and the second, and the other book is fitness for younger for youth for up to 21. And
Okay.
so right now I'm just at the point where I mentioned before, just ideas and it's just filling the gaps, ideas and filling the gaps. And I was inspired by this one first to write because again, that's as a Gen X influencer, the Gen X and boomers and trying to get us to be healthy and do the pandemic. But now I'm also seeing a lot with youth and younger people and a lot of times they don't know, the parents don't know how to be healthy. And again, this is just talking again in a macro level, and how exercise is important, how diet is important, what type of diet, staying away from sugars. And people again just giving people something to take use as a reference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
Mm,
great. And I mean, I mentioned it earlier in this podcast, even that, like, I was thinking about how this book, Fitness Over 50, 60, and 70 and beyond, can, relate to anybody. But I'm glad that you kind of caught that and said, you know what, there's others that's specific to other age groups that could be useful. So that's just perfect
mhm.
that you took that initiative and now you're working on it. So is it still in the process? Is it something that we have a release date for? What do you think? Is it coming up soon?
It's still on the whiteboard right now.
On the whiteboard.
Once I start, and it'll get moving. But it's just I just don't feel I have enough ideas and facts yet. We're getting close.
Almost there.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess we can, people can stay up to date by connecting with you and
Mm.
checking to see when it's, progress. So, what would you say where's the best place for people to connect with you?
I'm very active on my Instagram, which is Dr. Guadagnino. It's Dr. Period underscore Guadagnino, Guadagnino, which so they'll see on this podcast. My website is drmguad.com. It's drmguad.com. On that website, it actually there's access to everything, all my social media, all my emails, all everything. You can use that as a central hub.
Well,
And my
perfect.
book, yeah, and my book is on Amazon, Fitness Over 50, 60, 70, and beyond. In other online bookstores.
Got it. Right. So just Google the
Mm,
title and we'll find them all too. But yeah, we'll put the
mm.
links in the description box of this podcast today also. So you guys can go ahead and click on it and get in the know and learn a little bit more. That's perfect.
Great,
um,
great.
So yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. It's been a pleasure to, learn from you and hear about your experiences. Now, I'm curious to know, do you have any other last bits of writing advice for the audience today?
So what I would say, and again, what I came across while writing this was just patience. You have those blocks, just patience, just and allow that creativity. Don't get frustrated. Just allow. Sometimes you need to just walk away for a day or two, or a few days, and all of a sudden, boom, it comes to you. And you sit down and you just start banging it out. No, the creative process can't be forced. Allow it to
Creative
happen. Yeah.
worst. Yeah, exactly. You can. Yeah, I love that tip. It's important. You're not going to get anywhere if you're sitting there just like banging your head against the desk.
Right.
So amazing stuff. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a pleasure learning from you and hearing a little bit more about your experiences and journey. Very enlightening too. So, yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, and to all of our listeners today, again, the links are in the description box of this podcast today. Check out Fitness Over 50, 60, 70, and Beyond. It's something we can all learn from and stay connected to learn about updates for the second books and the third books coming out about other age groups. And yeah, just take these lessons to heart, implementing small, sustainable changes in your own lives. And remember, it's never too late to become the healthiest, most vibrant version of yourself. We'll see you next time on the Authors on Mission podcast.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Authority on Demand podcast. If today's conversation sparked something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with a founder or a leader who's ready to stop being the best kept secret in their industry. If you want to turn your expertise into inbound demand, head to authorityondemand.com to see how we help clients go from unknown to in demand. I'm Danielle Hutchinson, and I'll catch you on the next one. Now, go build some authority.